Throughout history, the silent war of information has often been as decisive as any battle fought on the field. Secret codes and ciphers have played an indispensable role in this hidden conflict. They represent the ultimate strategic advantage, allowing nations to communicate securely while attempting to pierce the veil of enemy intentions. The ability to encrypt one's own messages and, more critically, to decipher those of an adversary has frequently determined the outcome of major conflicts. From ancient empires to modern superpowers, the mastery of cryptography has been a cornerstone of military intelligence. These unseen battles of wits and machines have shaped the very course of human history. The concept of secret communication is as old as warfare itself, evolving from simple methods to incredibly complex systems. One of the earliest known examples comes from ancient Sparta, demonstrating an ingenious yet relatively simple device. This was the Spartan scytale. The scytale involved wrapping a strip of parchment or leather around a cylindrical rod of a specific diameter. The message was then written lengthwise along the rod. Once unwound, the letters appeared jumbled and meaningless. To decipher the message, the recipient needed a rod of precisely the same diameter. Only then would the letters align correctly, revealing the original text. This method was effective for its time, relying on a physical key rather than complex mathematical principles. Centuries later, Julius Caesar employed a more abstract form of encryption, now famously known as the Caesar cipher. This substitution cipher involved replacing each letter in the plaintext with a letter a fixed number of positions down the alphabet. For instance, with a shift of 3, A would become D, B would become E, and so on. While effective against those completely uninitiated in cryptographic methods, the Caesar cipher was relatively easy to crack. Its vulnerability lay in the predictable nature of letter frequencies in any given language. A skilled analyst could quickly deduce the shift by observing common letters like E or T. These early ciphers, though rudimentary by today's standards, laid the foundational principles of cryptography. They highlighted the constant interplay between creating secure communication and the relentless pursuit of breaking it. This ongoing intellectual arms race would escalate dramatically with the advent of new technologies. The 20th century ushered in an era of unprecedented technological advancement, profoundly impacting warfare and, consequently, cryptography. The widespread adoption of the telegraph and later radio revolutionized how military commands were issued and intelligence was gathered. These new communication methods, however, also presented a critical vulnerability. Messages could now be intercepted with relative ease, creating an urgent need for far more sophisticated encryption. Manual ciphers, like those used by Caesar, were no longer sufficient to protect vital information. This necessity spurred the development of complex electromechanical machines designed to generate virtually unbreakable codes. Among the most iconic and formidable of these machines was the German Enigma. Used extensively by the German military during World War II, Enigma was a prime example of a complex electromechanical rotor cipher machine. At the time, it appeared to be virtually unbreakable, instilling great confidence within the German high command. The Enigma's complexity stemmed from its intricate system of rotors and a plug board. Each time a key was pressed, the rotors would advance, changing the electrical pathways and thus the substitution pattern. This dynamic nature meant that pressing the same letter twice would almost certainly produce two different encrypted outputs. The plug board further complicated the encryption, swapping pairs of letters before and after the rotor encryption. This combination of moving rotors and a reconfigurable plug board generated an astronomical number of possible combinations. The sheer scale of these possibilities made brute force attacks practically impossible with the technology of the era. Despite Enigma's apparent invincibility, the British were determined to crack its secrets. Their efforts were concentrated at Bletchley Park, a top-secret government facility that became the nerve center of Allied code-breaking. Here, a remarkable team of brilliant mathematicians linguists, and codebreakers was assembled. A key figure in this extraordinary endeavor was Alan Turing, a visionary mathematician whose theoretical work laid the groundwork for modern computing. Turing and his colleagues employed a combination of mathematical analysis, statistical pattern recognition, and sheer ingenuity to attack the Enigma cipher. They exploited subtle operational flaws and human errors made by the German operators. One of their most significant breakthroughs was the development of electromechanical devices known as bombs. These machines, inspired by earlier Polish designs, were essentially sophisticated logical deduction engines. The bomb's purpose was to systematically test possible Enigma settings, rapidly narrowing down the vast number of combinations. By automating the process of checking potential keys, the bombs could identify the correct daily settings for the Enigma machines. This allowed the Allies to read a significant portion of German military communications. The intelligence gleaned from these decrypted messages, known as Ultra, was invaluable. Ultra intelligence provided the Allies with critical insights into German movements, supply lines, and strategic intentions. It allowed them to anticipate U-boat attacks, reroute vital convoys, and plan counteroffensives with unprecedented foresight. The ability to read Enigma traffic contributed significantly to the Allied victory, shortening the war and saving countless lives. While Enigma dominated the European theater, another formidable cipher machine, the Japanese Purple machine, challenged Allied codebreakers in the Pacific. Purple was an even more complex cipher than Enigma, utilizing a stepping switch system rather than rotors, making it particularly difficult to analyze. American code-breaking efforts, primarily led by the Signals Intelligence Service, targeted Purple. Their success in breaking this cipher provided crucial intelligence about Japanese diplomatic and military plans. This intelligence, known as magic, offered a window into the highest levels of Japanese decision-making. One of the most historically significant pieces of intelligence derived from Purple was information regarding the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. While the full implications of this intelligence were not entirely understood or acted upon in time, the ability to read Purple traffic proved vital throughout the Pacific War. It provided insights into Japanese naval movements, troop deployments, and strategic intentions, significantly aiding the Allied war effort. The stories of Enigma and Purple and their eventual cracking highlight the profound importance of human ingenuity and collaboration in times of crisis. These episodes underscore the constant, high-stakes back and forth between code makers striving for impenetrable security and code breakers relentlessly pursuing hidden truths. It was a battle of minds, where every mathematical insight and every technological leap could shift the balance of power. The ability to secure one's own communications while simultaneously compromising those of an adversary proved to be a critical factor in shaping the course of 20th century history. The intelligence gained from these code-breaking triumphs provided an unparalleled strategic advantage, influencing major decisions and ultimately contributing to the outcomes of global conflicts. The legacy of these wartime code-breaking efforts continues to inspire and inform advancements in modern cryptography and cybersecurity. The principles of complex encryption, the importance of secure key management, and the relentless pursuit of vulnerabilities remain central to protecting information in our interconnected world. The silent battles of secret codes, once fought in the shadows of war, have laid the foundation for the digital security we rely on today.